Good morning, everybody. Lovely to see so many people in the seminar theatre so early in the morning. Sorry, Stephen. Who braved the snow? Anyone brave the snow today? Snow across different parts of the UK, so well done for missing that. So welcome to day 2 of the seminar theatre in the Moves and Storage show. Our first session this morning is all about self-storage, getting started in self-storage. Anyone who knows anything about the self-storage industry in the UK knows that you really need to know your data to operate in this industry. And the key to understanding what's happening in the industry and the trends and the things that will affect businesses in this sector is really the SSA UK, who produce an annual report, which is just vital reading for anybody interested in this area. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to our first speaker, Stephen Ramage from the SSA, who has been in charge of membership acquisitions since, I think, 2021, Stephen?
I think so, yeah.
Superb. So please put your hands together and give Stephen a warm Moves and Storage round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Charlotte. Thanks for the introduction. So, before I do this, the last PowerPoint presentation I did was in GCSE English in Year 11. So anybody with expectations, please lower them now. So I'm going to start off with the need-to-knows in self-storage. There's obviously a lot of need-to-knows in this industry, but I'm going to cover a few. And what I think are important, and then anything else, just pop over to the stand or ask any questions at the end. So I am going to start off with a bit of a history lesson. So when did it all begin? When did self-storage start? So the first evidence of self-storage was about 6,000 years ago in ancient China. They probably just stored ancient Chinese things, which I imagine they just called things back then. The first self-storage facility as we know it and we recognize it started in 1958 in Fort Lauderdale in Florida. There's some contention about when it started, where it started, but as we would recognize a self-storage facility, it started in 1958. Now, that's not going with garage lockups or things like that. That's the traditional sort of buildings of self-storage that we've recognized in. And then just over 20 years later, it arrived in the UK. The first UK self-storage facility was Abbey Self-Storage. And that's not it, but that's probably what it looked like. So, next important date, 1995. I'll take you back to 1995, just over 31 years ago, nearly 31 years ago. So what was happening in 1995 that was so important? Friends was on the UK television for the first time. Blackburn Rovers won the Premier League. Britpop was in its height. And O.J. Simpson definitely wasn't killing anybody, apparently. Michael Jackson was the Christmas #1 for about 5 weeks with Earth Song. And I think that particular photo was taken in his dressing room before he went on stage. Sorry, I told him I wouldn't do that. 1995 was a great year for a lot of people. It wasn't so great for me. It was pretty harrowing and distressing, not because I was in Michael Jackson's dressing room, but because Stoke City were defeated in the playoff finals and didn't get to the Premier League. And in 1995, when I was 6 years old, I was viciously attacked by a giraffe at West Midlands Safari Park and bitten on the finger, and I've still got a scar just there. But anyway, enough about me. But 1995 was also a very, very important year in self-storage, and this is why. So, 1995, almost 31 years ago to the day, so in about a week or so's time, was the Self-Storage Association initiation. So that's when we were delivered. It was set up by a group of operators in the industry that wanted to promote best practice, set standards, and facilitate growth. They all got together and started that in 1995, and this is where we are today, just nearly 31 years later, with over 700 members, 1,700 sites in the UK, and lots of suppliers that you can all see around you today as well. So what are some of the need-to-knows in self-storage this year and beyond? So these are just a few that I'm going to cover. So we've got pricing, how to manage pricing. We've got add-on sales, so not just your space that you can sell, other things as well. the pros and cons of unstaffed sites and remote sites, which are obviously prevalent in the market now, and your marketing as well, both online and offline, how to do both, what's important and what customers expect from you as well, and the overall raising awareness of the industry, which is still pretty low. So we want to get that higher. We want to help everyone get that higher so everybody can be successful. So the first bit of data from our report is all about pricing. So I've put it as a title there, and it's one of the most. It's something that I tell potential members and operators pretty much every day, that being 100% full isn't what it's cracked up to be. A lot of conversations that I have are, Stephen, we don't need to join the association because we're already 100% full. We've got a waiting list, so why do we need you? If you're 100% full and you've got a waiting list, that's exactly why you need us. Nobody should be 100% full. If you're 100% full, you're too cheap and you're not managing your prices properly. So taking into account things like dynamic pricing, making sure that hotels do it, airlines do it now. So why can't self-storage do it? So when your numbers are low, maybe make your pricing a little bit cheaper, get people moved in. And when your occupancy rate goes to around about 80, 85%, that's when your prices need to go up. The perfect sort of rate of occupancy is around about 82, 83%. You've still got things to sell, and you've still got customers paying the right rates. Don't be afraid to raise prices on increments every 8 months, every 12 months. It's not like a Netflix subscription. They can't cancel it and that's it and wash their hands of it. All their goods are still in your storage, and for an extra £5 a month, are they going to hire loads of removals? Are they going to get that stuff out and move it elsewhere just for the sake of that? No, they're not. So, and as long as your service is good, the goods are safe, then why would they ever leave? Just for an extra bit of money a month. So also know the value of the product as well. So we find a lot with new members or people starting out, they'll Google other self-storages in the area and they'll just try and undercut them on price. So if somebody down the road is doing £130 a month, well, I'll do 120 and I'll get some people in. And then when somebody else moves in, they'll look at your pricing and they'll go, oh, okay, I'll do £110 a month. Somebody else moves in, we'll do £100 a month. Everybody's then undercutting each other and nobody makes any money. It just devalues the whole product, it devalues the industry, and that's not what we want. So know the value of your product. People want self-storage. Self-storage is for life-changing events. These things don't go away. Deaths, divorces, separations, house moves, all these sorts of things are always going to happen. Know the value of what you offer and be proud of it. And if you're going to discount for purpose too. So discount to get people through the door, but don't leave them on that same price. Make sure that there's a purpose at the end of that discount. If it's free for the first 4 weeks, the first 8 weeks, make sure that the next few months they go back to the rate everybody else is paying. Don't leave them on that discounted rate. And then we go to add-on sales. So it's not just the space that you can sell. So at the moment, in the last report on that last graph, I probably went too quick, but you can get the report at the end. In the last year, occupancy is actually down in self-storage by 1%. However, revenue is up. So that shows the importance of managing pricing, as I discussed, but also the importance of when revenue's down, how can you make other avenues for sales? So you've got the packaging, padlocks, protective boxes, all these things, and there's guys here you can speak to, there's suppliers here that you can speak to about doing that. When somebody moves in for the first time, maybe put them a package together that cost them an extra £25 of a few boxes, some wrap, some padlocks or something like that, just to get them happy, and then you get those add-on sales. There's also insurance as well, offering insurance. The guys here that we've got, Basil Fry, Poundgates, Reason Global, Gallagher, they're all here. Have a chat to them. For very, very minimal setup costs and admin costs, you can make a lot of money from insurance sales. So I'd always encourage people to do that as well. Again, anything around insurance, speak to us at the SSA. We're always happy to help guide you on that. We've got information on that. But definitely speak to the suppliers here today because they will know that. And even things like premium storage. So units that are closer to entrances, access points, lifts, ground floors, even climate controlled units now. Again, when you go to hotels and you go to airlines, they charge extra money for window seat or extra legroom seats, balconies, all those sort of things. Better rooms cost more money. So why wouldn't self-storage do the same thing? So just as an example, again, from the report, the Australian market, they make about nearly 10% of their overall revenue from selling add-ons like packaging and padlocks and things like that. Ours is only a few percent, so there's definitely room there. Just getting boxes in front of people, making them aware that they exist, put them in your showroom, in your reception, so they can see, make them aware that that's something that you offer as well. Another big contentious bit in the industry is to staff the site or not to staff the site. So 90% of stores use online bookings now. That was driven a lot by COVID, by lockdown, and it's carried on. So if you're not offering online bookings, then yeah, you've got to be offering online bookings now. Everybody wants to sign things online. They can move in, they can move out, and a lot of the times you don't have to meet them. We're in a generation now where especially over the next 10, 15 years, the storers, your customers, they have the telephone anxiety, they have the lack of social skills that other people have. They're used to clicking on a product, they're used to buying a product and not having to speak to anybody or listen to anybody. They can move in, they can move out, and they never have to meet you. There are some that still want that human interaction. We see that at least they need at least one. So whether that's just a phone call, whether it's somebody that they can meet face to face just to say, hello, yep, I'm here to look after your stuff. I'm a human. I'm not a robot. Things are safe. 82% use monitored CCTV now, which is something that we definitely push within the industry. Having CCTV is great, and it's one of our standards, but having regular CCTV is reactive. It's very good just looking at a camera after an event and seeing somebody steal some things. If you've got monitored CCTV, you're proactive and you can stop things before they actually happen. So again, we've got DSOC here, who are supplier members. Have a chat with them. They're great, and they can tell you how to implement that. If you are thinking of running a remote site, then having monitored CCTV is absolutely essential. You can't do that without having monitored CCTV. And the next buzzword that we've been hearing a lot over the last couple of years is AI. What is AI? When is it coming? Blah, blah, blah. AI isn't coming, it's already here, and we're going to have to get used to it. So it's not out there to take your jobs. It's not out there to take over completely. You can use it to your advantage, and you can use it to do some the tasks that you don't want to do, the grunt work, the medial tasks that you haven't got time for. So AI can help find sites in certain undersupplied areas. If you're looking at opening a store, but you're not sure of where to do it, you're not sure of the demand, where the house moves are going to happen, where the population are, and how many storage sites are in that area, AI can help you find that really, really easily. It can also help you measure up against your competitors. You can run custom reports to see how the prices are doing in your area, and see how the business is doing in the area as well. It can also, like I said, the grunt work of doing reports, spreadsheets, running off accounts that can possibly take a couple of hours can now take 10 minutes with AI. And customers can now find you with AI as well. So it's not going to be too long before somebody can put a prompt into AI and not just find the store, they can almost move in, they can make a booking all through AI. Obviously, they still have to go and put their stuff in, but a prompt could be, a customer could be in a certain area, they want a certain size unit, they want to pay this much a month, they want to travel this far away from their door, which sites are going to do that? The AI will come back to them and it'll say, this is the site that you'll choose it for them, they're booked, the deposit's paid, and you'll see them next Tuesday. And there they are. So your marketing as well, online and local marketing. So as you can see, that's another graph from the report. Online marketing is going to make up for most of the business and the inquiries and the clicks and things like that. So making sure that your marketing is up to scratch, making sure you're spending the right money on the right things, on your Google ads, making sure your website and your landing pages are spot on, the contact details are there, are something that is really, really important. So speaking to, we've got a member of YBA and we've got AMAX who are here as well. I'd advise anybody starting out in marketing, especially if you don't know the industry too well, don't just give it a go. Speak to the professionals, speak to the people who've been doing it for a long, long time. Who can tell you exactly where to spend that money so you're not just throwing it away. They'll tell you what you need to do, where you need to do it. And a lot of them give about a 30-minute sort of free advice sort of call, and they can tell you. But also, it's not always online. There's still a lot of marketing to do in your local area offline. So speaking to local businesses, getting involved with community projects, doing things, sponsoring your local sports teams, they're still really, really important things to do to get your business out there, especially because it's such a localized industry. Because of how self-storage is used, estate agents, perfect, solicitors, perfect. Even things like, and it's a bit morbid, but funeral homes. One of the key drivers for self-storage is death, and again, very morbid. That's why we did so well in COVID. But one of the key drivers is death. So people are looking for somewhere to store goods that they don't need, or they need to store for 6 months while they sort out wills, they sort out probate, and they don't want the hassle. So flyering and putting flyers and speaking to local funeral homes to maybe come up with a package that when they're selling their service, they can also tell the customer, have you thought about this storage company? So whilst everything's being sorted, these guys can look after those goods for a good few months. So then this is probably one of my favorite graphs and favorite bits of stats, which is a sentence I've never thought I'd say. But self-storage is such a localized industry, and this highlights that absolutely perfectly. So 60% of your customers are going to live about 20 minutes or less from your facility, and 80% are going to live 30 minutes or less. So you've got to make sure they know that you exist. People are going to store as close to their home as they can. It's the key driver. So especially if there's choice, make sure they choose you. And then, although I don't like to use AI for marketing because we always like to be creative, and I just thought I'd use AI to do my last little bit of work. So why should you join the Self Storage Association? I asked that question to AI, and that's what they came up with. So I'm just going to leave that there for a bit. If you want to take pictures of that, that's fine. But also that QR code as well is to download the report. So if you want to scan that QR code to download that report, we've also got very few copies at our stand as well. So if you want to come and say hello and then take a copy of the report as well. Again, in this industry, the report is absolute gold dust. And we can not only show you that report, but we can help you put that report and the stats of that report in action and help your business as well, which is what we're here for. And that is me done. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Stephen. If anyone has a question from the floor, please do pop your hand up and I'll come over to you with the microphone. While you guys are having a think about that, I mean, there was so much really, really useful takeaway stuff there. I loved the fact that you talked about those specific percentages in terms of that sweet spot, in terms of how full up is the right amount of full up and how often to change your pricing. I loved the fact that you talked about the importance of brand building marketing. So we're all massively obsessed with performance marketing. We love Google, pay-per-click, all of those things that we can measure and we can understand our return on investment, but it's still really, really important to do those kind of local sponsorships and banners. Absolutely. And just that visibility to drive your pipeline to make sure that people are aware you exist. Loved all that. That was really great. One question that came to mind, you said that this year or in the last 12 months, occupancy's been down, but revenue's been up. I just wondered if the SSA had any insights as to why occupancy's been down.
Well, since COVID, where the industry took a massive spike upwards, it's still a lot better and a lot higher than it was before that, but it's just slightly declined for reasons we don't really understand. There's no real reason behind it. people are tightening their belts for all sorts of reasons. The cost of living crisis is going up, so that can affect any industry, including self-storage. However, self-storage is resilient. So, I mean, there was talk of a recession not long ago, but that didn't really affect self-storage. So, even if people moving house goes down, that only equates to around about 20% of your customers. There's still loads of other areas where people use that. So, don't worry about, like that graph showed perfectly, don't worry about occupancy going down. If you manage your prices right, you can still be making a lot of money from doing that. And it's, as I say, it's passive income as well. So it's the perfect business model.
Cool. And the other thing that came to mind, so yesterday, obviously most of you guys wouldn't have been here, but we had Gavin Shields from Stora who came and talked about self-storage. And he was really talking about his journey getting started in self-storage and how he looked at the data in order to decide where to set up his first self-store. And he did an analysis looking at the local population size and then used that to understand how many square feet of storage to build.
So yeah, and Stora, Gavin's great. There's Canovis as well, who do some great work on that thing as well. But like with packaging and like the things I was saying before about making money there, when you're booking into a flight now or a hotel, you book your flight and then, especially if you're with Ryanair, do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this? So why can't we do that in self-storage? You take out your storage. Well, why don't you have these boxes? You don't have boxes. Why don't you get a padlock? The next stage, why don't you get out insurance? Why don't you do that? Do you want your room close to an entrance point or an access point? Do you need ground floor access? Well, if you do, you need to pay that, and then just add those prices on. Why can't we do it in self-storage?
I love the idea that you're using AI to potentially locate sites that are underserved and that have potential. Is there a metric in terms of population size that can support a self-storage? I know obviously for remote managed, it's probably you can
That's
probably go in at a smaller. I promised you I wasn't going to ask a difficult question, but
no, this is data that we have and we can find for you. I just don't have it right now, but we do, and we've got supplier members that can do that as well. So that's their job to look for those things. So we've got our supplier directory, which is on our stand. There's a few members that do that sort of thing, and they can find where to open up or desirable locations where to open up that of a population size, and also if there's any planned building work going on, if there's any planned house builds going on, they can find that as well. So but yeah, there is that data, and we can provide that to anybody starting up.
So people who are looking at starting up can start talking to the SSA. They can begin that dialogue before they're up and running.
Absolutely. So we're here for obviously members that are well versed in the industry, that have been doing it for a long time. But if you're just starting out and you want to start out the right way, that's where we come in. We can get you access to all the in-person events we do, all the networking we do. It's perfect for people starting out because with it being such a localized industry, your competitors aren't your competitors. So you can drive 30 miles down the road, 30 minutes down the road, and you can see a self-storage site. They're not competing with the same pool of customers as you are, so they can help. So I say when a lot of people ring up and ask about the association, it's a really friendly industry. It's a really everybody helps, everybody shares information. We have members that were in your position 10 years ago, and they made that phone call. They listened to not me talk, but they listened to a big Australian guy talk about the industry, and they joined, and then look at them now, and then they know where they were 10 years ago, so they're happy to pass that advice on. So it's not just us, the association, that can help and can answer questions. It's our 1,700 sites of other members as well that you can network with, that can share information, that can help you as well. None of us actually run a self-storage site. They do. So they know the pain points, they know the headaches, and we've got WhatsApp groups, we've got in-person events, we've got webinars, all these sorts of things, getting people together, sharing information, and just making the industry better. Easy.
Fantastic. If there's no other questions, I'm going to ask you to say a hearty thank you to Stephen with a round of applause.
Thank you.